And good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in on the last part of our four-part leadership series here at CEO Effectiveness. Dr. Gino Collura here, and particularly excited about diving into this last topic, which has a lot to do with individual awareness, right? So there's a lot of components when we think about ourselves, what makes up who we are, more importantly, how we interact with other people, right? And so there's this concept that we like to utilize here at CEO Effectiveness that has everything to do with what other folks know about us and what we know about ourselves in the interactions and the intersections that exist between the two. So one particular tool that we use is called the Johari window. What the Johari window does is it blocks out the notions of things that are known to ourselves, known to others, things that are not known to ourselves, and things that are not known to others. So when we think about having certain areas, certain facets of limitations as far as what we think we can actually do. And you know, it's always so interesting because when we have this conversation with clients, these typically are folks who are very successful in Fortune 100, 200, 300 companies. And so the ability and the capacity to perform at a high level is there. But the question is, how do we break barriers to perform even better? How do we get even better at communication? How do we get even better at understanding ourselves so we can communicate with fluidity, lead with fluidity, and have a great amount of adaptability, which instills confidence in folks who look to us for leadership, right? So this concept of blind spots as well as unknowns, right? I want to just touch on that this morning. So when we think of a blind spot, essentially what that means is this. It means that there are certain things in our character and our understanding of how it is that we present ourselves to other folks that we simply just don't know. It doesn't register to us, right? But other folks who are paying attention to us, who are interacting with us, they see it, right? And so an example of this would be if you've ever had a conversation or a discussion with someone and they tell you, you know, why do you use that tone? Why do you act that way when you're talking about this certain thing? Or why is it you manage this situation this particular way? When in your mind, you could be completely normal, right? You could be, I communicated fine. I led effectively. I don't see any issues whatsoever with what it is that I was putting forward and what it is that I did. So this is where we start to enter the area of blind spots. It's what others know about us and what we're doing based off of their perception and their understanding, and perhaps a misalignment with their perception and their understanding and our perception and our understanding of ourselves. This is very important, right? Because this is where a lot of wrinkles take place in relationships, both professionally and personally. And blind spots can be a real thorn in your side when it comes to being an effective leader, being able to be an effective communicator, and ultimately garnering an organization that is adaptable, right? If you're adaptable, you're able to kind of shapeshift on command and deal with real-time change with relative ease, and that's very important. Another notion is unknowns, right? There's certain facets to yourself that you don't know because they come from such early models within your childhood that it doesn't register consciously as an adult, right? And so you may be able to talk about certain experiences, but for them to actually register for you to do something about it, right? To recognize that, oh, wow, maybe there is a better way for me to do this. And I'm not doing it because I just don't understand where it comes from in the first place, right? Those are those unknown factors. Now, two other areas, right? There's this idea of the arena, right? So I'll give you an example. There are certain things I know about myself. There are certain things that you're going to know about me, right? And what I'm voluntarily bringing to the table in our interaction and what you voluntarily recognize in that interaction, that's the arena. I know it, you know it, we're playing in that field. The majority of us in business, we play in that arena, right? Then there's things that we know that other folks don't know, right? And we consciously make it a point not to put it out there, right? And that's what we call the facade, right? So those are things that we may keep kind of tucked away. We're cognizant, we're conscious of it, but we're not putting it out there for everybody because perhaps it's not in our best interest, our company's best interest to do certain things. So these interactions are very important. So I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to switch to a slide that'll actually give you a visual of the Johari window. And I want you to recognize the blind spots with the unknown the arena, and the facade, and the correlation that exists with the interactions between not known to you and what's known to others, what's not known to others, and what may be known to you. Okay, so I'm going to pause right there and switch to it. Okay, so now that you've had a chance to take a look at that, two things that I want you to do, right? So first and foremost, I want you to ask yourself a question, and I want you to write this out. When was the last time that you learned something new about yourself through an interaction that you had with someone that looked to you for leadership, right? When was the last time that you truly felt that you broke some barrier or perhaps crossed a playing field, right, of an unknown that exists in your life from a management and leadership and interaction and communication style, but something that you learned that was a breakthrough from someone that you had direct feedback from? And ask yourself, how productive and constructive was that feedback? Do I get regular feedback from my team? What is the level of trust that I have with my communication style? So along that, this is the second thing I want you to do. I want you to explain how comfortable you are with trusting others to volunteer information about you, right? Because if we can build trusting relationships and be honest and open with folks who are direct reports, with folks who look to us as an influencer, as someone of leadership, as someone of prowess, if we aren't being open and honest and having a very clear dialogue with them, right? And having very clear communication that is a good and productive conversation, then we're starting to kind of play in that arena of the facade, right? And hiding certain things and keeping things back, which ultimately have a potential negative effect on our ability to trust and be open and communicate effectively to what our wishes are and not have any crossed wires, right? So two things that I absolutely challenge you to do, and really reflect and analyze on what those things mean as far as what you have learned about yourself from other folks that you interact with that look to you for leadership, and that trust factor as well, right? So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Certainly went over a 5-minute allotment, so my apologies. Thank you all so much for your patience and hanging in there. Dr. Gino Collura, CEO Effectiveness. Please visit us at ceoeffectiveness.com. And if you haven't taken a look, we have a 7-day giveaway going on right now. So make sure you check out our Facebook page to get the details. Make it a great Friday, and take care. Talk to you soon.